Got it. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Alanna Starr, and I am here to share with you your cosmic divine intelligent blueprint because we all have one. And I'm here to share the celestial modalities that we can learn to understand more about who we are and to get to the roots of who we are. And the truth is that we're limitless, and our potential is immeasurable. And but we do have these systems that people have laid out before us to be able to just get more in touch with who we are. I'm going to go through a series of different modalities today and just basically touch the basics of them. So that way, if you didn't join again in this class, which I will have probably every Monday, you can just go Google it and learn about it, and take what resonates and leave what doesn't. There's like a dozen channelers such as Daryl Anka or who channels Bashar or Abraham Hicks. They both say things along the lines of follow your highest excitement, do what lights you up, find your greatest joy, and pursue that. And so that's what it is for me. And I know it's not until I come forth and really share all that's within me that I will find the peace and success that I long for, because that's part of my design, and that's part of my chart, and a part of all these modalities that I'm going to teach you today. I'm a living example, or I'm trying to be a living example of all the things that you're going to learn. So it's my design to share and impact and initiate in this way. It's what I value, and according to my design and chart, it's what I came here to do, is to share wisdom, to literally be a fountain of wisdom for others. And what specifically, I love to work with the mother archetype and the goddess energy, which is beautiful, and we will discuss in other topics. But for today, that's not going to be my main focus. So it's just following the connections and connecting the dots and the synchronicities to break barriers between the spiritual and material world. Okay. So I've tried to share these modalities with people close to me throughout the past. And, sometimes you can be mocked or laughed at because not everybody can see exactly what you do or what I do. So I wanted to just be able to create a safe space to just be able to share, and but not to force things down anyone's throat. And I'm just guessing, since you're here today, I know most of you are spiritually inclined, so you probably will either know some of these things or be able to piece together things that you've already known, and maybe really put them into practice. We are here in a new paradigm that's coming, and it's very vast and magical, and I think that these tools are really going to be needed right now. So I want to assist others on their journey of awakening to their highest potential. And that's my goal. It's such a supernatural and exciting time to be alive in this new cycle. And if we really hone in, we can use our abilities at will. That's what I would like to tap into more myself, is our like supreme potential. And it's actually destined that people will be coming forth this time to share. And I have years of study and research. I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist. I study past life regression and certified in that. Read 10 mysteries for women. I'm also, I've been studying Sophianic wisdom for many years, and many other modalities that are here to help uplift and assist others on their healing journey. So first, I wanted to dispel some myths about these things, because I know this is mostly for people who will watch this that are not exactly in this group, but they might have some fear around using tools around divination, because there's taboos, or they feel it could be witchcraft, and in which this form of these divination tools, they do fall under the umbrella of the occult or esotericism. And so that's meaning like what is hidden. And so I understand that this kind of be taboo a little bit for some people, but it's actually like really big in this generation. And I think that we need to learn how to use them properly and understand them, so that way we don't get into anything that's dark when it comes to like, I do not condone or use black magic, or I do not recommend it, and I do not believe it's a good thing. I think that we have to find ways to balance our karma, and that's how I'm teaching these tools today. So we have to be able to guide each other and use these skills to be able to lead by example, especially for the children that are coming into the world right now, and because they're so special and they're already really advanced. So it's really helpful to just kind of be lead by example when it comes to our spirituality and that being balanced and wholesome. So I'm just here to spark the mind. So the greatest way to awaken our power is by knowing where we are going and where we are on the great wheel of life, right? So we want to know where we are on the great wheel. All right. So that's what I'm here to teach you. You want to know where you are, where you're going, and so you can face life head on and find our peak version of ourselves. And it's here. It's possible to achieve this. So first, I want to start with the definition of what a cult is, because it is a supernatural, mystical, a magical belief and practices and phenomena. And a lot of us have these experiences, whether it's seeing 1111 or seeing number sequences or just resonating so deeply with something, even having connections with somebody when you just meet them. Um, these things, they are a part of something much bigger. And over time, if we pay attention to these little nudges that the universe is giving us, we actually are really blessed with um, much more of the synchronicities, and it just makes life so magical and enchanted. And that's what the world really needs. It's not just in movies. We are that magic. We are that enchantment, and we can find it in all the books people have written. We can find it everywhere, and sometimes we don't find it until much later in life. And I think that if we found it earlier, then we actually can help assist our body in healing, because everything's microcosm, macrocosm, mind over matter. So that's all part of the system, right? So how's everybody doing? Can I get a thumbs up if everyone's doing good? Oh, or I know you guys don't have your videos on, so just feel free to write in the chat or anything.
Yay!
But okay, just want to make sure. That was just my little spiel to get you guys to see that what I'm going to be sharing today. Okay, beautiful. Okay, well, first I'm going to start with nameology, okay, because our names are very, very powerful. Um, Even if your name is the same thing as a million other, Ashleys or Davids, right? They all hold a vibration, and they all, like, sometimes your name is biblical, and you're actually holding the frequency of that biblical name. And you also have a numerology that comes with your name. It is a destiny number, and you can add up your name with the numbers, because it always goes back to numbers. And literally it means nameology means the science of names, and philosophy falls under science. So philosophic is the love of wisdom. So, and we know that wisdom is at the root of all spirituality. So that's why it's really important to know what your name means. Where does it originate from? And does it resonate with you and what you're doing here? For me, it does. It took me a while to realize that it really does resonate, right? So has anyone ever done the numerology of their names? I mean, that's something to think about. And I will share with you guys where you guys can find um, that. You can look, there's many different websites. You simply can Google, but I can give you a list of different websites you can go to. So using this technique, it's really easy to find the root number associated with your names. And a lot of numerologists refer to this as your destiny number. And so to find it, you calculate the root number of your full name, your middle, first, and last, your first, middle, and last, and then you reduce it to a single digit. Okay, so that will give you a total. And if you end up with a number that is 11 or 22 or 33, you don't reduce those numbers. That is a master number, which you can learn about as well. So I'm not exactly giving you, the full thing today, because um, because that's going to be for the next week. I'll go into depth of each of the modalities if you're interested. But this is just to give you the basics. Okay. So, and along with your name, it's also important to know your numerology of your birthday, in which you simplify and reduce your birth date down to one number as well. So in numerology, that's known as the branch of knowledge that deals with the occult significance of numbers. And as many people would know, there's actually a biblical quote that says the kingdom is numbered. And you can find numbers in everything. And you have numbers specifically for you that can help you on your journey. So that's why I think it's really important to know your numbers. And like I learned last night just by sharing this, that Angel Shishi is also an 8. I'm an 8. And there's another woman that was an 8 as well. And I can see similar qualities when it comes to leadership. And so 8 is a number for people that are really great at leading. And so that's something to think about. And each number you can find will give you a different personality trait. And so you can take that destiny number for your name, and you can take your number, and sometimes they're the same, which is actually even more mind blowing because for me, it's all the same. I'm all 8s for my name and my birth date and my year I was born and the time I was born, and it's pretty wild. So that's why I'm pretty excited to share this stuff, because for me it's definitely like a synchronicity that I love to share. So I'm just gonna check the chat and make sure no one's coming in. Let's see.
Can I ask a question about that?
Yeah, please. Yes, 888 Angel Shishi, yes.
Can I ask you a question about that? What if you were born with one name and then you kind of got a nickname and that's really the name that you use?
Okay,
I
that's really
actually,
mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I would
How
take
should
them
I
both. I
deal
would
with
take
that?
them both. Yeah, I take them both. And so you're saying that so your name is, you have
Di-
a first, middle,
Yeah.
last.
So my name is Luetta Josefina Farrar on birth, but everyone knows me as Tita, which my father called me as a nickname, Tita Farrar. So I should probably just do them all, correct?
Yeah, but I wouldn't do them together at first. So I would actually do it three. I would do it three ways. First, I would do your original birth date, and I would look at that, and then
Yeah.
I would replace your first one. I would replace your first name, because that your first name is the nickname, right? The one that you basically use is covering your first name, correct?
Yeah, my it's not actually on my birth certificate, Tita. It
Right, right.
became a name from birth. Yeah.
Right, I would still use that. Yeah, so I would do it three ways. I would actually add all of them together. First, I would do your original, the first three, and then I would do the four of them, and then I would also take out your first name and do your middle and the nickname, the middle name, and the last name. And I would just look at the three of them just to see what you have. But I would think that if you're very, very connected to your nickname that you've had since you were born, then I would use all four of them to look
Mm-hmm.
at. But significantly, it's your birth name and your
Okay.
birth certificate. So, but we make things that are important to us, right? If you're searching for the synchronicity and you're looking for something to, to make you to show you that that name is significant, you will find it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you can also use them both. So
Cool.
yeah, so I'll use them both. Um, Definitely, nicknames are important for sure. So especially if you had it since you were in your birth. Even that word Ashley has been popping up in the last few days in my reality. How funny. That's actually one of my sister's names. Yeah, that's funny. 888. Yeah, it opens the gate. Yeah, I just want to share for myself. I was born 7/2/1988 at 8:08 p.m. So excuse me, so 7/2/88, that's the year of the 8, 1988 equals 8, but 7/2/88 equals 8. And then I was born 7/2/8:08 p.m., which is all identical numbers to my birthday. And they all equal 8. So being born at 8:08 and then everything equaling 8. And then also my name equaling 8, Alanna Starr Schimmel. So for someone like me that's like, really into this stuff, you can see why that would be like, wow, like I love that synchronicity. That's what feeds my soul because I'm like, I'm looking for it, and the universe gives it back to me because that's what I am here to give that out to other people. And the more I live that, that's my design. Okay, so I'm gonna keep going to the next modality or finish up. I might have a little more. And let's see. All right. So yeah, um, prior to the 20th century, it was called arithmancy. Arithmancy. So everything that is considered a divination of some sort usually has a mancy, to kind of like romance. Um, Something with mans is like a fancy of. It's like a love of. It's a connection to. So, in this belief in the occult, divine or mystical relationships between number and one or more coinciding events. And the study of get the words out, numerical value of letters and words and names. When numerology is applied to a person's name, it is a form of onomancy. It is often associated with paranormal alongside astrology and similar to divinatory arts. Also, the practice of gematria, which is a more sophisticated approach to looking at your numbers and your names. That's a little bit closer to Jewish mysticism, but gematria is very powerful. And I mean, it's uh, people who study this form of I don't really know how to use different word except for conspiracy theorists, which like I tend to lean towards a little bit. I love to look into things that are, considered a little Yahoo or Wahoo. And so some people follow these numbers and they can actually use the gematria of certain events taking place so they can predict the events taking place because of this. So I'm not really super into prediction or like fortune telling, because then we get into little blurred lines where people think that it's not good to look into your future. But I think it's good to know where you're going, and because if you are not the captain of your ship, then who is, right? So that's why I think that these things are important, that we shouldn't get too attached to any system, but to just be able to look at them and see the synchronicities and the patterns within your field and release and not be attached or stuck to anything, because then we kind of get into sticky situations when we're too attached to any system. And at the end of the day, all of these things always go back to astrology, whether it's in your palm of your hand, because you can find all the system of the star systems within your hand and it's within your body. So it's really important to know your astrology when it comes to where your placements are and how they show you where you are on the Great Wheel of Life. This is where we get the as above so below, macrocosm, microcosm, that the entire zodiac is within you. And what is not readily available to you in your zodiac, you actually can find those specific chart qualities among the other people that you interact with, whether it be your family, your parents, your best friends. You begin to compare your charts, you will see that we fill in the gaps for each other. Okay. And I've seen this in multiple clients and people where you can literally see how you intertwine and work with other people, and how if you're lacking fire in your chart, you actually can get that from the people around you. And it's the same in another modality that I'll show you soon. Okay, just gonna look down real quick, make sure everybody is good in here. Okay. All right. So some of the important aspects that I really want to express the importance of understanding and knowing what they are your north node and your south node. Okay, so your north node on your chart is, you will see it will look like a little node, like a little horseshoe on your chart. And that will tell you where you're going and where you're coming from. So whenever you have a north node, you have a south node. For an example, my node is going into Pisces. That's my north node. That's the energy of which I need to follow. Many times you hear people say that it's really good to follow your North Star. And you want to be able to let go and release that of the south node. So you're coming in with an extra abundance of the energy of your south node, which is would be for me Pisces north node. It would be Virgo south node. So an example would be Virgo is known for being more analytical, and they're very exacting. They're very technical the way they do things, and kind of strict. And it's a very feminine sign, but they're the ones who might have been doctors in a past life, or great healers, where they had to be very exacting and analyzing everything. And so in this life, they need to learn how to let go of that need to control and need to, be so exacting and perfectionism, and release to go into the Piscean area of spirituality and trust in the universe, and not being so rigid. So that's just an example of how you can actually follow your north node and follow your north star, because the more you can follow that energy and let go of those things that are stuck to you, that you have an overabundance of, the more you actually can flow into what you came here to do. And that's one way that you can help to figure out what you're here to do in the world. And so, with that being said, it's also really important to know what house it is in. Okay, so I mean, it can take years to really understand astrology. You might not get everything today, and hopefully, you have some understanding of it already. So this can just help you. And of course, you can always ask questions. But the houses are really important. So, we have all of our signs, and then we have the houses that it lays in. And in my father's house, there are many mansions, right? So this, I truly believe that a lot of even biblical sayings are very linked to astrology. And it even says to watch for signs in the stars, right? So, I mean, I'm literally just throwing like little bits of other teachers that I've studied from that gave me these little bits of wisdom. And I'm always mind blown, because it literally is right there for us. And people have literally paved the way for us to understand a little bit of this at a time, right? And I think that throughout the ages, we weren't exactly ready to receive all of this, because it is a lot. It can be overwhelming, because it's like, oh, I need to know this and I need to know that. But it's like, you don't need to know it. But it does help. Like, you don't need an ounce of these things to be spiritual. You can simply meditate and go within, and you can have your own experience and find peace that way. But for some of us, such as me, I didn't grow up with spirituality. I didn't grow up with much religion, and I had these feelings, and I was just searching, and I found magnificent people who were healers and teachers, and I always found something that was just so intricately connected that makes me want to share this. Okay. So another aspect that I really recommend to understand and learn about, which I can also send you guys links to be able to look up these different charts. But I think that the Chiron, so the Chiron is spelled Chrion, and it is your wounded healer. It's your greatest wound and your greatest medicine and your greatest gift that you have to give to people. So mine is in Cancer. I'm giving an example of mine, and that's the mother wound. Okay, so and I have a great mother wound within my field, raised by stepmother and multiple people, and not by my mother, which is, it's a beautiful story, and it's part of my story. But and like I said in the beginning, that I really work with the mother archetype. As you can see, that as I learned that I had a Chiron in Cancer, because she represents the mother, that Cancer, and I also am a Cancer in the zodiac. So um, so many synchronicities around that sign, and just pointing that I'm here to heal a deep wound with the mother. And at this time on earth, we are definitely feeling the presence of the great mother reemerging here. And it's very much needed right now. So that's another place to look. Right now, as a collective, we have our Chiron in Aries. And maybe some of you can feel the energy of Aries that's very kind of feels like warish, right? Whether it's spiritual war, or like physical war, but it's very much bumping heads, and politically and everywhere we can feel that energy is present right now. So that's one thing that I wanted to share about it. So you will always find there is a Chiron. It changes, I believe, every so often, like every sign does. I want to say 3 months, but I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that one. All right. We doing okay in here? I think everybody's good. Yes. Wonderful. I feel like I keep losing somebody, but it's okay. All right. All right. So jumping back on it, another way. So I'm actually going to share, because now that we have gotten through just the astrology and we got through the Chiron, there's also the part of fortune, which you can find calculated in your chart, will show you where major success can be. I want to go into sharing my screen so you guys can see a few things that I'm going to show you here. And I'm just going to check here to make sure that nobody is. Oh, my friend's saying that the link is invalid. Um, one second, everybody, please. All right. My apologies, everybody. All right. Well, she can't get in. That's okay. It is what it is. All right. So here we go. I'm going to share with you guys my screen. And okay. All right. Okay. Can everybody see that? I'm guessing you can. All right. You guys can unmute yourself if you have any questions or anything.
Yes, we're seeing it.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure. Okay. So as you can see, the Great Wheel of Life, if you were to Google Wheel of Life in astrology, you'll find many different systems or symbols that will show you how the Great Wheel of Life works. And you can find it in Kabbalah, which is this is the tree of life. And the tree of life has different pillars. Hi, Julieta, welcome. All right, so the tree of life has many different systems, right? I'm sorry, not systems. I mean, what I'm showing you now is like very vast, and actually, according to Jewish mysticism, um, they actually don't believe that you should even study Kabbalah or look at it until you're 40. But I learned this when I went to Israel, and I thought Jewish mysticism was fascinating. And what I learned is that the Kabbalah tree of life is also related to all of the planets and all of the tarot cards and all of the archangels. So at the end of the day, it's all the same thing, which is what I'm trying to tell you right now. It is all the same exact thing. You'll find the moon, the stars, the planets, it's all within the system and it's all also into everything that I'm showing you here. So, yeah, okay. So in astrology, you'll find all the planets on the tree of life here, okay? And if you were to look at tarot, you would also see that um, each card is related to a tarot card. And a tarot card is also related to a planet. And so many people don't know that Jewish mysticism and tarot and Torah are very much, they're based off of the same thing. Now, people can use them differently, right? It's the same thing um, you give a doctor a tool and they heal somebody, but you give a killer a tool and they could do the worst with it, right? So many people don't like to use these things because they come with an energy or they don't want to foresee the future, but they're very powerful tools to understand where you are, and that's why people use them. So here you can see in another aspect that you can learn to know yourself is called cardology. And cardology is based off of the original tarot, which I'm not sure if any of you know this, but the original tarot is the playing cards, the bicycle cards. And if you think about the bicycle and why they use the bicycle as the symbol on the cards, because the bicycle is epileptic, right? Epileptic is the word I'm looking for. And um, the astrology wheel itself is ecliptic, and so it's circular and it moves in a certain fashion, right? And so all of the cards we call it cardology or cartomancy, as I said before, that all of these divinations have a mancy, and this is called cartomancy. And you can see that we all have a card. So if we were to look, maybe I can open this for you so you can see. But if you were to see your birthday, you would see that you have a card that is just for your birthday. So let's see if we can find, as you can see, it's also October, a Virgo. I see it's the same exact thing that you would see, and each card represents it represents a day of the year. Each suit, such as diamonds represent autumn, right, and so forth. So you all have a card that falls on a date, and people can actually read them. So we have one deck equals a year, 52 cards in the deck is the weeks in the year, the four suits are the seasons in the year, the 12 chords are the months, and they also represent the major and minor arcana in the tarot. So, for instance, let's see. Can everyone see this?
Yes.
Okay, so someone give me your birthday.
9/11/63.
Oh, 9/11. Okay, so we're gonna go to September 11, and you are a king of clubs.
Cups.
Yes.
Club. Yeah.
Yeah, we also have a spirit card. I mean, so, as I said before, a lot of these systems, they go much deeper. Like I actually have a book called The Cards of Destiny, and it's a whole divination guide of how you can learn more. And at the end of the day, you'll see that this card and also your birthday, your numerology, your nameology, it all will give you similar feedback. You'll see that they're all related. Once you read about the King of Clubs, you will find some significance in there. Okay. So the cardology is another way that you can know more about yourself and know where you are. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna open this up.
Can I say a little something?
Yes.
And I'm curious if you heard about this, but that tarot was outlawed kind of early on, and they used playing cards to do the tarot
Yes,
reading.
they did.
It's so interesting. I want to learn about that.
Well, actually,
Thank you.
what I've heard is that these cards, the number cards, were first. That
Oh, okay, that makes
they
sense.
actually outlawed these cards, which is why they started playing games with them. And
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
because they were outlawed because they were oracles. And I think it has a lot to do with if you look back in antiquity, you will see that there were oracles that had wisdom that were, and there's a lot of fear around people who can divine, right? Who can give wisdom of what's to come. That's not part of a church, right? That's not in the religious section. So these things were persecuted. You can see it in many different times throughout history, such as the Spanish Inquisition or the witch trials. There's always been some type of, attack on this realm of things. But what made the tarot cards popular was more in like the 40s, I believe, when Aleister Crowley came out with the Rider Waite deck. But there's a lot of history that I'm not familiar with that I need to learn. But yeah, I think that what I've learned is that these cards were actually one of the original ways to that they divined.
Mm.
It goes back to numbers, right? It goes back to archetypes and numbers. So that's part of that. But yes, you're onto something. Um, so yes, I'm trying to figure out how to get back to um, pause share. There it is. Stop share. Okay. So now I'm back here and I'm gonna carry on with, because I have more to just tap into before. All right. So, so yeah, so far what we've covered our namology, our destiny number, our numerology, our gematria, our north node, our south node, in which something I forgot to touch base, which is really important, is actually your moon sign. Your moon sign is super, super important to understand your relationship to the mother aspect, but also how you relate and view your mother. Okay. That's like really important to understand, is your moon sign. So I really recommend that when you do look at your chart, you can go and see where your moon is and really look at your relationship with your mother. And if your mom is um, your mom can be an Aries, but you can have your moon can be in a Gemini. And the way you view your mother, you can look and see if that resonates for you. Do you view your mother as somebody who's Gemini, or somebody who is a Libra? You have to look at the qualities. And also, there are so many different people that make videos on YouTube where you can just type in moon in Cancer, moon in Virgo, and you can see the similarities of what they're teaching. Sometimes you can tell people just regurgitate because a lot of this stuff is not new, right? Now, there's nothing new under the sun. This stuff is just refined because like, and a lot of the stuff I didn't come up with. I found it, and I retained it, and I found a way to make sense of it, and I took what resonated and things that made sense to me, and I refined it, and now I'm just sharing what I've learned. So, but there's many different teachers that can show you like really in depth, and you can get readings from them, and but there's just so much free material that's there for you if you really want to get yourself out there and learn more. Okay, so yeah, we went through the importance of now the moon sign, the north node, the south node, and the houses that they fall in. We're looking at the Chiron and the wounded healer. Okay, so that was your greatest wound and your greatest medicine. Your part of fortune, which is a calculation you can find for where your success lays, and your cardology, which is your personal card and the bicycle playing cards. Okay, um, and now we're going to tap into human design. Okay. Also, one thing I don't want to skip over is the Mayan signs, because the Mayans have a whole complete different calendar. And it's so beautiful to recognize and look at that system as well, because they look at a 6 sun calendar. They look at many different calendars, because of course we are living. This is something that I wanted to tell you in the beginning that it slipped my mind. But many people, they do believe that we're in a Gregorian calendar, and some people think of this realm that we're in as some kind of matrix, right? And they're like, well, we don't know if they just gave us this calendar and it's not really real, and it's just a matrix and it's a false time matrix. And I can say yes, I do firmly believe that we're living in some type of matrix system where we are under the rules of a 24 clock system, and everything's based on the 12 system, the 12 zodiac tribes, the 12 disciples, right? We're in that matrix of the 12. And some people are now coming online to the 13th sign, which is, I think it's officious, but I can't remember how to pronounce the word. So if someone can correct me if I'm wrong. But I just believe that if we are in fact living in some type of matrix that is controlled by an archonic force, or beings that are here to control, right? We just call them controllers, okay? They have created this system that we are living in, right? And whether or not it's real or fake, it's what we've been given. And that's why I think that mastering the system that we've been given is really important. So that way you can rise above. Because at the end of the day, the whole point for these things is to understand systems that can take us to mastery. And when you are a master of your universe, you're a master of your field, you're a master of your own mind. And so therefore you can't be controlled by outside forces. And many people think that they don't believe in astrology and they're not affected by the planets, and none of that is, but this is a divine science. It is astrology is a science, and it is a law, and it's a language, and we are affected by it whether we want to believe it or not. And so that's why it's important to understand these systems, to master them, and then at the end of the day rise above them and not attach to anything, because the unattached mind is where we're free. Because the Buddhists, they believe in the samsara wheel. Okay, so I will actually show you. I'll show you here. I'm going to share my screen again. And you'll see here the wheel of samsara. Apologize, but my gardeners are here, so I hope you guys can hear me. Forgot Mondays are gardening days. Okay, so the samsara wheel, this is the Buddhists believe that we are living in samsara, okay? And when we are stuck in our fears, in the 8 great fears of lust, the sins, at the end of the day, it comes back to suffering, right? So if we are suffering, it's because of our attachments. And so it's the whole idea is to get out of the samsara wheel of reincarnation, which I believe in, and to be able to find nirvana, which is complete inner peace. And we can find that while we are alive, and we don't have to wait until we pass to find these things. And I think that is a big thing that we miss, that we're not taught, is how to really find peace while we are in our bodies, so that way our bodies can really be masters of light and hold light frequency, which is like a whole other topic. So I don't want to get too far off in there. But at the end of the day, you could see how it's very much related in some way to another wheel, right? The wheel, the ecliptic, right? We're always moving and we're always shifting. And so one way to really master these things is to understand our suffering and our attachments. And so these systems can help us understand the way we love, the way we think, the way we are, based off of where the sun and the moon and all the planets were at your time of birth, because you are literally a screenshot of the earth, and you are that important. Like, you are so important and relevant, and so that's why these things matter. Okay, so now we're going to move on to human design. So just want to check in. Everybody's doing okay? You guys can unmute yourself if you have any questions, okay? If not, I'm going to carry on. All right. So I use human design is it is a whole other system that you would have to really take time to learn about, but I'm going to give you the basics of it. I use a system that's found on mybodygraph.com, and I like this one because you can create an account and you can log in and you can keep track of your chart and everybody else's that you know. So this is my chart here, and my chart shows you Actually, I will switch it so I can see. I need to close this out and do it again. Sorry. So it's mybodygraph.com, and it takes you to this system. We're here, and I like to look at the mandala because as you can see, it's another wheel. Okay, so the wheel, this whole system is based off of pretty much all of the things I just taught you about. Okay, except it adds another twist on it. All of these systems on the outside here, these symbols, are called the I Ching. These are the I Ching, which is in Chinese. It is a form of divination. It's called the Way, the Book of Way, the Book of Changes. We based off of a Chinese divination, and all these can be unlocked, and you unlock these based off of these symbols that they go through here. Okay, so as you can see, you'll see all of your astrology is here, your nodes, as I mentioned before. Mine is in Pisces, which is right here. Okay, and then so you have all these gates. So when you're born, you're given, you have a time that you're born, right? So you place it in here, and it will give you a type, a strategy, and authority. Okay, so there's a lot to learn here. I know that this is a lot to take in, but I'm just giving you the basics so that way you can go look at it, and you can always have somebody read it for you, and I can also help you. So I'm what you call a manifester, and that's a certain type that is on the human design. There are 5 types of types for the human design. There's manifestors, there's manifesting generators, there's projectors, reflectors, and I'm sorry, but I skipped one, but there are 5 types, all right? And they all have a signature and a type of way, a strategy to deal with things. They have a profile, which of mine is a martyr heretic, and a 3-5. And so this whole system takes the Kabbalah, it takes your astrology, it takes your Chinese I Ching, and it gives you calculated numbers to tell you a little bit more about your personality, how you can get to know yourself. All right, so that's one way. I also like to use the Jovian archive, which it tells you everything here. So everything I'm just giving you right now, you can go deeper and look at those sites here. It'll tell you what is human design. The human design system is a synthesis of ancient and modern sciences. It has been proven to be a valuable tool for human understanding. It provides you with simple yet effective tools to enhance your life, reducing confusion, stress, and resistance. It is essentially your own navigation tool, okay? It'll tell you about the founder and how they did this. Like I said, there are things that people have laid out the way for you, and now we can use them to really look at who we are and where we're going. And you can always look at your astrology charts and all that jazz. It also is related to the Kabbalah tree of life. As you can see that it's very similar. And this is where they got that system that I just showed you. It's very much connected to this Kabbalah tree of life here. All right. Give me just a moment. Okay, so how's everybody doing? Do you have any questions? No?
Did you say you're a manifester?
I'm a manifester, yes.
Me too.
Yeah, and I think
4, yep.
yeah, what is your profile? Do you know?
It's a 2-4 manifester.
Yeah, so and that's really interesting too, because as you know, manifestors, they're meant to initiate. So they're they're the only type. It's about 9% of the population. It's interesting that it's only 9% because I often find manifestors and I'm like, how is it 9% when I see a lot of them? But manifestors are they're here to Yes, I will definitely leave links. And also, Rada is a manifester too. Yeah, so we're the only type that's meant to initiate. We don't really have to ask permission in a sense. Like we are just like able to do things, and but we can shake things up a lot when we don't inform others before we do them. And but they're not the same. They're not the same energy type as a generator that has their sacral center defined. And I'm only talking this way because I'm pretty sure that everybody on here is familiar with human design. So that's why I'm like able to kind of just talk freely, where it's the sacral center is what makes a generator and a manifesting generator. They're able to go within and feel what resonates for them and what works, and they can think before they do things, and it's more concrete. But manifestors kind of just do, and
Yeah.
and so they can shake people up, and we have to learn how to inform others before we do things. But we're literally here to initiate an impact and find ways to do that in the world. So yeah, and then also an offset from human design is the gene keys. So the gene keys, this is a great book that I have here. That's from Richard Rudd. So he studied with the creator of, yes, people get mad at us all the time. They do, because they're, and especially if you know your numbers, then people actually can project on you based on what your numbers are. I'm a 3-5, so I get a lot of projections on me because of my numbers. So it's all pretty crazy, but it's really cool because you can see if you're a 2-4 and I'm a 3-5, that you can see the difference in the energy types of the manifestor and what you're here to do. But anyway, the gene keys remember I showed you guys the rave mandala just now, and I said that the I Ching were all the symbols on the outside. That this book breaks down all of those gates for you, and it's a much more softer approach, and they're so in depth and it's beautiful. And you can actually go on Gene Key's website and it'll break down each one for you. So we all have a main profile, like main 4 numbers that make up our cross, our cardinal, our cross that we're on, and it will tell you details of what that is in here. So that goes even further. So as I said before, like everything kind of started off, and then it's kind of branched off and it refined. And that's why I find it so fascinating, because if something resonates this deeply for us, then there has to be some type of truth. And I think that when we're told that we should not be divining, and you shouldn't do all these things, and it's so strict and restricted, it doesn't feel right to me. So that's why I am the martyr heretic. And so I'm not going to die for this in this lifetime, but I feel like I have before, for these things that I want to share. And I want to make sure people know that they have these tools to look at, because if you feel stuck, it's good to know that that you can work with these things. And even as far as like angels go, even if someone's doing work with angels, you'll see that each angel works with a planet. And if the planet works with a card, right, it's all related. If the planet also works with the card, and also works with the tarot card, and also works with the Kabbalah tree of life and the human design and the gene keys, then by gosh, I think you're working with angels in a way, right? Because angels to me is angles of light coming in. And when we can get real deep and scientific, if we understand what it means to add add light to yourself, right? To add cubits of light to yourself, to let light in, to become lighter, so that way you can quote unquote levitate, right? Like not actually levitate, but to be able to where your heart is light as a feather, right? Because all these things help us remove weight off of us, find out what belongs to us and what doesn't, right? What is ours and what we got from karma coming into this world. Sometimes we're born to lineages that we literally need to clear. And if we don't have tools to clear, it can get really tough. So yeah, we can use these tools to do these things, or we can just meditate, right? We can use plant medicine. We can use sound healing. There's definitely so many modalities that you don't have to like use any of these things, but I just want to share them so that way people know what they can use, right? So yeah, it also helps you elevate from the matrix. And that's 100% exactly what I am just trying to get people to be able to do, because I do think that we're in a system that is run by who knows who. And if you aren't the master and the captain of your ship, then who is? And so yeah, knowing these systems can help you get closer to that, you know, your galactic signature, your know your archetype, because everything's based on archetypes. We're tapping into like quantum healing here, and the key to your truth is hidden within the synchronization of all these divine tools. And I must repeat and tell you that it is not witchcraft. It's a craft and a skill set, but you're not conjuring or spellbinding, which I do not agree with, and I do not personally condone. And many people have paved the way to pierce the veil for these generations that are coming right now. And as I can say, like apocalypse, it doesn't mean end of the world. It actually means revelation, that which is uncovered becoming seen. So what's hidden becoming seen. So yeah, it's our birthright to know ourselves at the most purest and potent and holy ways. And astrology is a science at the end of the day, a holy science. And this is gnosis. It's knowledge of spiritual mysteries and spiritual matters, and it's waiting to be discovered about you. And it's not narcissistic, and it's not selfish to want to know about yourself. And actually, the more you know about yourself, the more you can heal relationships around you. Like I've had many relationships where I found out that they were a projector, and and I'm a manifester, and that could really be hard on a projector, because your energy type is just like, it could be exhausting for them. Um,
Hmm.
and it's like really to be able to look and look at yourself and be like, wow, maybe I am being a little too much right now, that I
Mm.
can just kind of like tone it down a little bit and see where people are at on their wheel, and
Mm.
and just be a little more compassionate. And so yeah, it's waiting to be discovered, and you can be an ascended master while you're alive, full of life. You don't have to wait to die to be. It's safe to know who you are. And as a Kyra from the Sophia Code, I love her work. She talks about your angel wings, right? Like it's safe to dust off your angel wings and be seen, because the more seen you are, the more safe you are. And I'll pretty much just leave this because I'll be closing soon. I'm going to leave it with the idea of gnosis, that you know it's an esoteric knowledge of spiritual truth held by the ancient Gnostics to be essential to our salvation. And it's a Greek noun for knowledge, and the term was among various religions and philosophies. It's best known for its implication with Gnosticism, where it signifies a spiritual knowledge or insight into humanity's real nature as divine, leading to the deliverance of the divine spark within humanity from the constraints of earthly existence. Which, if you look back, it is the samsara wheel, right? We're in the samsara, almost trying to reach nirvana, and we have to release our suffering, our attachments. And yeah, these things don't belong to private orders anymore. You're worthy to receive your divine blueprint and your sacred codes for expansion, and it's safe to see the bigger picture, and that includes you. So yeah, I think that I know I gave you a lot today, and I'm so happy to like answer any questions that you might have that arise in the next few days, or just questions on where you can go to see things. If you want to trying to figure out, it's 11:11. Yay, it's my number. So yeah, if you want to leave
Yay.
an email somewhere, I don't really know how to. I guess you can leave it in here and I can copy and paste, but I think it's good if I give you my email too. You guys can send me anything, and I can, yeah. But you guys are, I know most of you here were actually probably mostly just helping me today to be able to speak, because this is something I've been wanting to do for a while, and I know some of you already know a lot of these things. So you feel free to chime in, like Julieta. I know that you are very versed in astrology, and Angel Shishi, she's a reader herself. And Rada holds the Goddess Code Academy, and she is an author. Danielle's an author, and she does pendulum swinging. I mean, spinning. There's so much stuff. Yeah, so that's it, you guys. That's all I have for you today. Any questions or you can unmute yourself.
Okay, he's trying to get here.
All right. Got a quiet bunch.
Thank you. So beautiful.
Yeah, that is really brilliant, Alanna. You're really, when you see the divine connection between everything, it is just so magnificent. And you did a great job presenting an overview of each of these modalities. And I really want to learn about the gene keys more. I did listen to some audios on gene keys, and I do think it's really amazing. But they're all fascinating. So thank you.
Yeah, Gene Keys is phenomenal. Like this book in particular, it will take you through each one. Like say this is the ninth gene key, it'll tell you what his pairing partner is. It really it gives you the amino acid, the ring of light, the codon ring. So it's very scientific, you know,
Mm,
it's very scientific, and we're working with like light particles. We're working with measures of light that's in ourself, and that is really divine. So I will have a specific class on just that later. Yeah.
Yeah, I could totally see you doing a weekend workshop, like a retreat kind of thing, and diving into everything in depth, figuring out each other's things. And so many people want to take that. So, yeah, it's great that you're just practicing, like sharing now so that you're ramping up to your true teacherness. Go, Alanna.
All right, everybody. So I'm going to stop the recording, which I should have did earlier. So